clerical shirts, I think it's fair to say, they have to cope with a lot. Mine are mostly around 7.5 years old, and I've just bought myself a new one, which I'm wearing now. But let me just talk about the shirts they're replacing, these new shirts. They came to the end of their life, 7 years in, truth be told. I mean, there's only so many times you can re-dye them with black Dylon to keep them from going charcoal grey. And the cuffs were almost worn through, very threadbare in places, just from sheer daily wear. There are deep cufflink marks etched into the cuffs from where they'd been for all those years. And some of the buttons weren't original. They'd pinged off during the course of daily ministry, the course of daily work. And goodness knows where some of them are. I've replaced some of them with small, similar black buttons to the ones that came with them. And in recent years, I've taken to using very brightly coloured cotton to sew my buttons back on. And these are unseen in daily use. I don't know if you can see here, but there's a little sort of flap here that hides the actual buttons on the front of this particular brand of clerical shirt. And so nobody would really know that I'd got these colourful threads on the replaced buttons underneath there. But I know, and I knew, that these hidden signs of the wearing effects of ministry were being carried with me. Now, others can be forgiven for thinking that this was an example, a hilarious example of my ineptitude with a needle and thread, choosing the wrong colour of thread, or could have been just simply laziness on my part in failing to track down black thread. But actually I did do it on purpose, and it wasn't just laziness, because these little strands of bright red and yellow were a hidden patch of joy, a hidden patch of remembrance, if you like. The role of a priest can be wearing, but the process of being worn, of bearing the scuff marks, the wear and tear of ministry, is part and parcel of the vocation. It's something that continues to form us as ministers. I'm not talking here about accepting abuse against clergy. That's not what I'm on about. What I mean is that as we bear the burdens of others, as we walk alongside people through their trials and tribulations, as the work of ministry leaves literally the blood, sweat and tears as marks in its wake, those things change us. Those things leave an imprint. And this is why seeking spiritual refreshment for ourselves is important as ministers. That's why that matters. When we reflect on critical moments in our ministry, or indeed ongoing patterns and issues in the job, as it were, these open up opportunities to identify our missing buttons, which have dropped off, which have got knocked off us. And rather than sewing them back on with black thread, pretending it never happened, to acknowledge the wear, the cost, the weight which caused the damage in the first place, but also to work out where the bright colour of the Holy Spirit has been at work there, how the Holy Spirit was alongside us in doing the work of God. Mind you, we need to buy a new shirt sometimes. Sometimes we do need to buy a new shirt, to recognise that a new expression of priestly vocation is what we're being called to. Some reflection on the way in which being a priest has worn and scarred us helps in that process of discernment too. It's important to say that that's not actually where I'm at, but I'm quite happy that I am called to be where I am, doing what I am. But that might be something for you to reflect on. And when I've been talking in terms of a priest shirt, all of us, the baptised people of God, the followers of Jesus, those who would come and see him and follow him, all of us do bear the wear and tear of our calling, of our ministry. So whether you're ordained, lay, whatever, what are the marks of ministry on you? Where has the wear and tear of being a disciple shown itself? Maybe you need to find someone to talk to about that. So wherever you are in your journey of faith, in your own ministry, examine the worn cuffs, the faded fabric, and the missing buttons of your own ministry, whether you're ordained or not. All ministry leaves its mark on the people of God. It helps form us into the people of God. And it may be that someone else is needed to come alongside you, to help you reflect, and to help you find those bright threads of the Spirit.